Welcome back, everybody, to the Jacksonville Jaguars franchise here on Madden 21, as today is a day that we've been waiting for since the start of the series, the 2021 NFL Draft. Last episode was free agency. We made a number of big moves, including signing Phillip Lindsay, Sheldon Rankins, and others. We lost a decent amount of our core, too, including Leonard Fournette, Dede Westbrook, and Cam Robinson. To replace Cam Robinson, we traded for Dwayne Brown, and we hired Eric Bieniemy as our new head coach. So a lot of big moves were made, but, Super Bowl champions are built through the draft. And we have a number of picks to do so, including 2 first-round picks, picks 4 and 26. We own 3 fourth-round picks, 2 sixth-round picks, and all of our other own picks. So, if you've been following along with this series, you may know that we've been doing prospect profiles, and we've been going really in-depth with a lot of the players in this draft class. If you would like to download the draft class for PS4, it is called Jags Class 1. You can also search up my PSN. Don't ask why that's my PSN. I didn't create that. But nonetheless, let's get this one started. The 2021 NFL Draft is officially underway, and the New York Giants are on the clock. There are a number of really, really good players in this draft, and we have a chance to potentially add some potential cornerstones to this team. So without further ado, let's get this party started. With the first pick of the 2021 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Louis Kahn, linebacker, Westlake. We all know General Manager Dave Gettleman has a history of making mistakes in the draft. This pick is not a mistake. Louis Kahn is the best player in this draft coming out of Westlake, a 4-year consistent starter. He's a freak athlete, as you can probably tell by some of his attributes. He's a very well-rounded player. He can stop the run. He can go after the quarterback. In coverage, he's a little bit shaky, but the Giants picked the best player in this draft and a player they can build their defense around for the next decade. With the second pick of the 2021 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills select Callaway Claiborne, wide receiver, Clemson. After a season where the Bills massively underperformed, they are deciding to help Josh Allen rather than replace. Claiborne is a physical specimen, has good athleticism, good hands. The routes are not good. He needs a lot of improvement in that area. But if he can get better as a route runner, he has a chance to be one of the best receivers in the NFL. With the third pick of the 2021 NFL Draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select Kazuo Artemis, offensive guard, Clemson. It is not a very well-kept secret that the Bengals need help on their offensive line. Right now, their biggest focus is to keep Joe Burrow upright, and I think adding Kazuo Artemis, one of the top guard prospects to come out in recent memory, should certainly do that. He's a little raw in some areas, but if he develops, he'll be a really, really good player very quickly. So Jacksonville is on the clock at 4, but they will be trading out of this selection, is going to the Philadelphia Eagles in exchange for pick 7 and a second-round pick in next year's draft. So Jacksonville is moving down 3 spots and getting a 2 next season. The Philadelphia Eagles have officially traded up to the 4th spot from Jacksonville. With the 4th pick of the 2021 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Devontae Cunningham, edge rusher, Illinois. I think Devontae Cunningham probably would have still been on the board at pick 7. However, the Eagles clearly had their eyes set on him and figured, why not go ahead and just guarantee that we get him? So I don't really blame them for doing that, although I think they could have managed their assets a little bit better. With the 5th pick of the 2021 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select Channing Allen, edge rusher from the University of Texas. This pick signals a number of different things to me. One, that the Broncos could be looking to replace Von Miller as he is getting older, or they aren't really sure about bringing Bradley Chubb back. Chubb is nearing the end of his contract, and I don't know if he's necessarily played like a top edge rusher, or at least deserves top edge rusher money. So Denver could be trying to replace one of them with this pick. With the 6th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select Marcus Jones, safety out of Westlake. The Panthers are getting a really good player here in Marcus Jones, who's arguably been the best safety in college football ever since he got to start a few seasons ago as a redshirt sophomore. He's been consistent ever since then for the Westlake defense, and Carolina is getting a really good player who they can build the back end of their secondary with. With the 7th pick of the 2021 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Zaire Wiggins, cornerback, Auburn University. Cornerback Zaire Wiggins is the selection. He will be going to Jacksonville. Zaire is a 76 overall with hidden development. Let's take a look at the highlights. Wiggins is a really talented player. Man coverage, he is already very solid in that category. He does need to improve a little bit in zone coverage, but if he does, I think he could become very well-rounded. He's extremely athletic. He ran a 4.34 40-yard dash, 4.01 20-yard shuttle, which is fastest among all corners. Jacksonville's secondary was really bad last year, and despite adding Crevon LeBlanc and Emmanuel Mosley in free agency, the Jags felt it would be a smart idea to add a long-term partner for C.J. Henderson. Let's take a look at Wiggins' attributes real quick, as obviously the speed and the athleticism in general is going to be very good. 95 speed, 91 excel, 91 agility. 79 man coverage is very good for a rookie. He has 71 zone coverage, 75 catching. Wiggins has outstanding ball skills and was a turnover machine at Auburn. With the 8th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts select Rodney Allen, quarterback, University of Iowa. So despite signing Jameis Winston in free agency, the Colts are going to be going with quarterback Rodney Allen. Allen had a very rocky collegiate career, starting at Westlake, lost the starting job as a junior to Stephen Westwood, who will be in next year's draft, transferred to Iowa, and had an outstanding season. Allen is a very well-rounded player, no real weaknesses, and I think he could challenge for the starting job very early. With the 9th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select Austin Cotter, defensive tackle, University of Illinois. The second Illinois defensive lineman to go in the top 10. The Titans want to add another body inside with Jeffrey Simmons, and they're going to go with the very talented Austin Cotter with the selection. With the 10th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Washington football team selects Cordell Sassley, tight end, Alabama. Washington definitely wants to help Dwayne Haskins. The team signed Kareem Hunt, Jared Cook, Alejandro Villanueva, and Yannick Ngakoue in the offseason. So they've given him a running back, a weapon, an offensive lineman, and they're going to add another weapon. Cordell Sassley can develop behind Jared Cook for a few seasons, and watch out for the Washington football team to be sneaky good this upcoming season. With the 11th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Marcus Lee, safety, Westlake. The starters at safety for Westlake these past 3 seasons were Marcus Lee and Marcus Jones. Not only do they share the same name, but now they share the same division. Lee is headed to the Atlanta Falcons. I think his counterpart, Marcus Jones, is a little bit better. However, I think Marcus Lee is a little bit more athletic upside and should provide a lot of help for one of the worst defenses in the league. So the Vikings own pick 12, but not for any more. The Jacksonville Jaguars will be moving up. Jacksonville is giving up pick 26, which is the Rams' first, pick 68, their third rounder, and the second rounder they acquired from the Philadelphia Eagles just now in exchange for pick 12 and a 5th rounder next season. Clearly, Jacksonville has a player that they really want and that they feel they need to trade up for. With the 12th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Bentley Vanderwalsen, offensive tackle, Ohio State. Despite acquiring Dwayne Brown, the Jaguars felt that they had to go out and get the left tackle of the future, and that'll be Ohio State's Bentley Vanderwalsen. Vanderwalsen is the best offensive tackle prospect in this class, period. He's a very solid pass blocker. Look at him against Michigan. He played very well in this game. He's fairly athletic and has good power. He's a well-rounded offensive tackle who does a lot of things well, and even with the addition of Dwayne Brown, I have to assume Bentley Vanderwalsen starts on day one on either the left side or the right side. Let's take a look at his attributes. He stands at 6'4", 319 pounds, so he's definitely a big guy. 90 strength is solid. He's not a phenomenal run blocker for the most part yet, and he does need some work in that category. However, he's one of the best pass-blocking offensive tackles to come out in recent years. He was not going to fall to pick 26, and Jacksonville really wanted him, so they're going to get him. With the 13th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Jalen Robinson, edge rusher from the University of Kentucky. After a very good combine, I was expecting edge rusher Jalen Robinson to go into the top 10. Instead, he falls to pick 13 and right into the Cardinals' laps. I like what Arizona's doing. Rather than really trying to make a big move, they're letting the draft fall to them and getting a player who should have been gone a few picks ago. With the 14th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Brandon Flores, offensive guard. The New York Jets are really trying to invest a lot into their offensive line, but they still need a lot of help there. Westlake's Brandon Flores, who was an athlete in high school, is a very athletic prospect. He should provide immediate value to the New York Jets, starting at that right guard position, and help Sam Darnold, Le'Veon Bell, and company. With the 15th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Marquise Parks, wide receiver from the University of Miami. Despite having Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, the Bucs have decided to add another weapon. Marquise Parks is a very physical receiver, kind of like Callaway Claiborne, who was drafted a lot earlier. Parks has solid athleticism, size, and hands. However, he is a very, very bad route runner and is going to need to develop that. With the 16th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Octavius October, defensive tackle, Westlake. The Chargers drafted Corey Liuget in the first round about a decade ago, hoping that he would shore up the interior of their defensive line. He's done just that, and now the Chargers hope Octavius October out of Westlake can do the same. October is a very well-rounded player because you can have him on the field on first, second, and third downs. He's a good run stopper, yet he can get to the quarterback. Very good selection by the Chargers. With the 17th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Doug Wright, defensive tackle, Stanford. I assume Octavius October was the player the Lions wanted, so they're going to have to settle with Doug Wright instead, who, to put it lightly, is not as good. With the 18th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Jarius Teller, linebacker, LSU. The Steelers are a team who loves to build around defense. A few years ago, they drafted Devin Bush in the first round, and now they're going to add another middle linebacker in Jarius Teller. Teller is very different from Devin Bush. Bush is an elite athlete. Teller is not. However, he is a little bit more technically sound as a prospect, and I think the two of them should complement each other very well. With the 19th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Lamont Irving, cornerback, Louisville. The Browns have invested a number of high picks in cornerback recently with Denzel Ward and Greedy Williams. Ward is nearing a contract year, and Greedy hasn't quite panned out yet, so they're going to add another one in Lamont Irving. Irving is a very raw prospect, but has elite size and speed. If he can develop into what I think he can be, he'll be a superstar. With the 20th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins select Barnum Takalo, defensive tackle, Louisville. Barnum Takalo was on the board for the Lions to select, and instead they chose a very inferior prospect at the same position, and he falls into the laps of the Miami Dolphins. Coach Brian Flores is trying to build a culture on that defense, and Barnum Takalo can be stuck right into the middle of that defensive line and be a superstar for years to come. This might be the biggest steal of the draft up to this point. With the 21st pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys select Quincy Ogunbowale, wide receiver, USC. Quincy Ogunbowale is one of my favorite players in this draft class, and because of that, I'm kind of sad he's going to Dallas. The Cowboys don't need a receiver. They already have Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, and CeeDee Lamb. This makes me think that they probably don't plan on paying Gallup long-term after this season, so watch out for him to potentially be on the trade block. Ogunbowale has the potential to be a superstar. At just 20 years old, he's the youngest player in this draft class, but has the physical skills and gifts to become one of the top receivers in the NFL. With the 22nd pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Juan Weldon, cornerback, UCF. Not a great pick by the Las Vegas Raiders. Enough said. Let's move on to the next one. With the 23rd pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select John Paul Patterson, cornerback, Westlake. The Jets have now taken two Westlake players with their first-round picks. The first one was guard Brandon Flores, and now they're going to add cornerback John Paul Patterson. Patterson is at his best in the slot. He played on the outside as a senior for Westlake and did not play his best football, so I think if you use him to his strengths, he'll be really, really good. With the 24th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Carlos Myers, offensive tackle, Tennessee. You guys already have Mike McGlinchey. You don't need him. Not sure what the Niners are doing. Let's move on to the next pick. With the 25th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins select Isaiah Thomas, wide receiver, Clemson. An outstanding draft so far from the Dolphins. They somehow got Barnum Takalo at 20. Now they add Isaiah Thomas here at 25. Thomas has elite game-breaking speed. He has good hands as well. He's not a phenomenal route runner, but if he improves there, I think him and Devontae Parker could be a really nice 1-2 duo down in South Beach for Tua and crew. With the 26th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Donovan Marquez, edge rusher, Ohio State. I imagine the Vikings would have probably selected the Kentucky edge rusher Jalen Robinson had they not moved down, but since they've moved all the way down to 26, they're going to have to settle for the next best thing, that being Donovan Marquez. With the 27th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Julian Richardson, edge rusher, Alabama. Right now, Julian Richardson is super raw, but at just 20 years old, if the Chiefs can develop him, this defense adds another scary player on their defensive line to join with Chris Jones and Frank Clark. With the 28th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Tyreek Jones II, wide receiver, Ole Miss. This Bears offense gets even scarier. Nick Foles obviously won MVP out of nowhere last season, And now they add another vertical threat in Tyreek Jones II, who ran a 4.29 40-yard dash. With the 29th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Kleb Manuko, offensive tackle, North Carolina State. This pick really confuses me for the New Orleans Saints. And don't get me wrong, Kleb Manuko is a really good player, but they are currently slotted to have Nick Mullins start at quarterback this season with Drew Brees gone. Jeremy Watson was right there for the taking, and they pick a tackle? They already have Teron Armstead and Ryan Ramczyk, which is the best tackle duo in football. So picking another offensive tackle makes no sense when your quarterback is Nick goddamn Mullins. With the 30th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens select Jarvis Butler, safety, North Carolina. The Ravens do not have a whole lot of holes on their roster. However, I do think they could use a little bit more talent at safety, so adding a very well-rounded player in Jarvis Butler should help to shore out that secondary even more. With the 31st pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers select Reese Olstadt, running back, Miami. Aaron Jones is now gone, so insert Reese Olstadt, the new starting running back of the Green Bay Packers. I'm fine with this pick. Olstadt is really good, but why pick A.J. Dillon last year if you're just going to pick a running back here in the first round? Don't really get it by Green Bay. I don't really know what A.J. Dillon's future looks like in a Packer jersey right now. And with the 32nd pick of the 2021 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select Josh McClelland, offensive tackle, Westlake. That will conclude the first round, but we still got 6 more to go. We're not going to announce every pick going forward, just every Jaguars pick and any other pick of significant importance, so pretty much not a lot. Josh McClelland is a very weird player to me. At 6'1", 297, he is fairly undersized, but he is quite versatile. Played center in high school, then moved over to left tackle, where he's been a solid starter for the past 4 years on Westlake. McClelland can play most offensive line positions, and with Bill Belichick, I'm sure he will find the right spot for McClelland. So that'll do it for round 1 of the NFL Draft. Jacksonville started the day off with picks 4 and 26 and turned them into picks 7 and 12, selecting cornerback Zaire Wiggins and left tackle Bentley Vanderwalsen. We will do the next 6 rounds. However, we're not going to go over every pick. We're only going to go over Jaguars picks, any Westlake players off the board, or any other picks that I felt were necessary to talk about. With the 36th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Rashawn Babineau, defensive back from the University of Michigan. When we did the prospect profiles throughout the season, one of my favorite players that we covered was Rashawn Babineau, and I'm very excited that he is in a Jacksonville Jaguars uniform. Babineau is a 75 overall with normal development, but I think this is a really, really good pick. Let's delve into the highlights. Babineau is extremely versatile. We've seen guys like Charles Woodson, Jabril Peppers, and others come out of Michigan, and they've been able to do so many things on that defense. Rashawn Babineau is like that. Babineau is listed at strong safety, however, he can also play slot corner as well as sub-linebacker. With Ronnie Harrison already at strong safety right now, I think most of Babineau's snaps this season will be from the sub-linebacker position. However, with Harrison being a free agent at the end of the season, I think Babineau could move over to that safety position. At 6'4", 208, Babineau is built like a linebacker with freak athleticism. He needs to improve, especially in coverage, if he wants to be a safety at the next level. But I think he has so many different skills that Jacksonville could really turn him into an awesome player. With the 42nd pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Washington football team selects Ulri Ayuluko, wide receiver, Westlake. The Washington football team will get Dwayne Haskins some more help by giving him a new starting wide receiver in Ulri Ayuluko. Ayuluko has been a phenomenal player these past 4 seasons at Westlake. When he has the ball in his hands, he's a big play waiting to happen. Ayuluko ran a 4.24 at the 40-yard dash, and already as a rookie, makes a case as the fastest player in the NFL. If he can develop a little bit more as a short route runner and get his hands to be a little bit more consistent, him and Terry McLaurin might be the best receiver duo in football if that happens. With the 54th pick of the 2021 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Justin McGee, linebacker, Westlake. This is a very Raiders-like pick. Justin McGee is an old-school thumping linebacker. He's been very productive these past 3 seasons with Westlake, played extremely well in the national championship game against Fresno State, and I think he is a great fit with this Las Vegas Raiders team. So that'll do it for the players we're going to go over in round 2. I know not a lot, but there weren't too many exciting picks in this round. I like Juice Johnson, the running back, going to the Buffalo Bills. Their 3rd straight year using a day 2 selection on a running back. Got some custom players like Miles Burrow and Gerald Harmon, Kylan Granson, and others starting to go off the board. So that'll do it for round 2. Let's now advance to the 3rd round, where the quarterbacks would start to fly off the board. With the 65th pick of the 2021 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Jeremy Watson, quarterback, University of California. Could the Daniel Jones experiment be starting to lose some wheels? Jeremy Watson out of Cal is the pick. He has an extremely strong arm, pretty accurate, not a huge scrambler. However, I think the arm talent is definitely there. And if Daniel Jones really starts to struggle this year, Watson could be a very good replacement. With the 68th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Preston Garrett III, quarterback, UCLA. This is the pick that Minnesota got from Jacksonville just now by moving down from pick 12 to 26. I really like this fit of Preston Garrett going to the Vikings because he's extremely raw as a passer. However, he can sit behind Kirk Cousins for a few seasons until Cousins' contract is up, and once he leaves, I think Garrett will be good enough to take the reins as the starting quarterback. I think this is a match made in heaven for both sides, and Garrett could very well be this team's franchise quarterback. With the 69th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select Jonathan Clarkson, quarterback, Missouri. Let me get this straight. The Broncos are starting to lose faith in their strong-arm quarterback who they used a day 2 pick on out of Missouri. So what do? They pick another strong-arm quarterback here on day 2 out of Missouri as they select Jonathan Clarkson. At the beginning of the season, Clarkson was supposed to be a top 10 pick. However, he definitely fell down the boards, mainly to his bad accuracy. This guy can absolutely yeet the ball down the field, but he is not good in the short or intermediate game. You might want to put him in as your designated Hail Mary thrower, but other than that, I don't see much of the future for Clarkson, at least as a starter in the National Football League. With the 83rd pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select J.B. Givens, offensive tackle, West. J.B. Givens has a lot of upside, and I really like what he can do as a prospect. Was never super consistent for Westlake, but after declaring after his redshirt junior season, I think if Givens can learn a little bit as a bench player early on, I think he could develop as a good starter. With the 87th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Kyle Harris, cornerback, Westlake. The Jets have now drafted 3 Westlake players, adding cornerback Kyle Harris. The problem I have with this pick is not the player. Kyle Harris is awesome. But him and John Paul Patterson are very similar. They are both at their best when they're doing work inside from the slot. So I don't really know why you need to select both of Westlake's talented slot corners, but oh well, I guess they're going to try to kill one bird with two stones. With the 96th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens select Joe Brewer, a linebacker, Westlake. Joe Brewer never really got a full chance to be a main starter on the Westlake defense. He started as a redshirt sophomore, wasn't super consistent. However, I do think he is a talented player and could provide some value down the line for this Ravens defense. So that'll do it for round 3. A number of quarterbacks, a number of Westlake players going off the board. Obviously, Jacksonville did not have a third-round pick since it was traded earlier in the draft to the Minnesota Vikings. Some more custom players here going to the third round. Guys like Charlie Priavolios, Revel Columbus, Preston Garrett was a custom player, Christopher Columbus for wide receiver. So, a lot of talented players here in round 3. Let's move on to round 4, where the Jaguars have 3 picks. With the 100th selection in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Daniel Romer, tight end, LSU. With Jacksonville cutting Tyler Eifert in the offseason, they need a new backup tight end, so they're going to add the very talented Daniel Romer. David Njoku is currently slotted to be a free agent at the end of the season, and I don't think Jacksonville is sold on bringing him back, so if Njoku does not return, I think Daniel Romer has the chance to be the long-term starter. Romer is a very solid receiver. He has good athleticism, good hands, and is a solid route runner. As a blocker, he is not great, which is a concern. However, as a pure receiver, he's one of the better tight ends in this draft class. And I think especially if David Njoku is not on the roster after this season, I think Daniel Romer has the upside to be the long-term tight end. Looking at his attributes, he does not possess great speed. However, he does have good size, hands, and is a solid enough route runner. If he can develop that blocking, I think he could be a really solid player for Jacksonville. With the 103rd pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Taga Taluiaipupu, edge rusher, Hawaii. We looked at edge rusher Taga Taluiaipupu in the prospect profile, and I really like this player. I think he's very talented, but I don't think he's a phenomenal scheme fit, at least right now. At 6 foot 240, he's not big or strong enough to have his hand in the dirt as a defensive end. However, he's at his best going after the quarterback, and the outside linebackers in Jacksonville's scheme do not do that. Last year, the starters at outside linebacker were Miles Jack and Quincy Williams, who did not get many sacks. However, as a rotational edge rusher, I think Taluiaipupu can be a really good player. And at this point in the draft, you pretty much have to go with the best player available. And that's what Jacksonville is doing here, getting a really good football player, even though the scheme fit isn't really there. So they can continue to develop him, bulk him up. I think maybe he could have his hand in the dirt as a defensive end. With the 116th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys select Richard Richards, cornerback, Westlake. We talked about how the Jets got both of Westlake's talented nickel corners in John Paul Patterson and Kyle Harris, but neither of them were actually listed as the main slot cornerback last season. That went to Richard Richards, who after a very solid sophomore season, decided to declare for the draft at just 20 years old. Dallas needs a lot of help in the secondary. They've lost Chidobe Awuzie, who signed with the Raiders. I think this is a really, really good value selection here in the later part of the 4th round. With the 122nd pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Lee Egerton, wide receiver, Auburn University. With D.D. Westbrook now on the Giants, Jacksonville needs a new slot receiver. They did sign Nelson Aguilar in the offseason, but can you really trust Aguilar? The answer is no, so they will be selecting Auburn's Lee Egerton. Egerton is very small, only 5'9", 200 pounds, but he does have elite speed. He ran a 4.34, and I think is a perfect fit as the slot receiver if Nelson Aguilar struggles, and I think Egerton has the chance to get some really early playing time on this team. Egerton is a guy who we did not talk about in one of the prospect profiles, but I think this is really solid value for him. Looking at the attributes, 94 speed, 93 excel. For a slot receiver, his catching and his short route are rather low, so I think those do need to be improved, but I think this is a solid pick. So that'll do it for round 4. 3 new Jaguars in Daniel Romer, Tagat Taluiaipupu, and Lee Egerton. So now let's advance to the 5th round. There aren't many Westlake players or notable players left, so for the most part, the only picks you will be seeing are our picks. With the 132nd pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Kyra Brooks, running back, Arkansas. In the free agency episode, I made it very clear that Jacksonville would need another running back alongside Phillip Lindsay. That player will be Arkansas's Kyra Brooks, who is already a 70 overall. Despite being a 5th round pick, Brooks will receive a fair amount of playing time on day 1. He will likely be the main power back in short goal line situations or other short yardage situations. And I think if Phillip Lindsay starts to get tired or gets hurt, he is a smaller player, so he is more susceptible to injuries. Kyra Brooks would likely be the main running back. Brooks is an extremely talented player, and I think this is obviously phenomenal value here in round 5. He's very well-rounded. He does not do anything particularly great, but he is a really well-rounded, across-the-board running back. He's not a phenomenal receiver, but other than that, across the board, he's really, really good. With the 133rd pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select Lee Bush, cornerback, Princeton. All I'm going to say about this pick is if you get it, you get it. Alrighty, we are going to advance through the rest of round 5 now. No Westlake players. There are only 2 more Hornets left on the board. Wide receiver Zeke Bowman and kicker Volker Gantz. So it's very hard to find talent at this point in the draft. I think Kyra Brooks is a really good value pick. Jacksonville has 2 6th-round selections and 1 7th-round pick. Let's see if they can make the most of those draft choices. With the 164th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Ike Shorts Raymond, safety, UCF. We talked about Ike Shorts Raymond in the prospect profile for defensive backs. He's a very weird player, to say the least. He's listed at 3 safety, but I don't think he really translates to 3 safety. In college, he was only a 1-year starter and played very well at 3 safety for UCF, but I don't think that's where he's at his best in the NFL. He is not good in zone coverage, like at all, and I think he has a lot of traits of a nickel corner. At 5'11", 201, I think he's too small to play sub-linebacker, and I do think he has traits to play there as well, but I think he's probably at his best in the nickel. As you can tell, he's very raw, but I think if he can develop for a little bit, I think he could have a role somewhere on this Jags defense. I really don't know where, but I think he's potentially good enough to find a spot. With the 172nd pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Zeke Bowman, wide receiver, Westlake. Here we go, fellas. The first Westlake player going to Jacksonville, and I don't think you expected it to probably be Zeke Bowman. Bowman never really got a shot to start at Westlake. He only played 2 seasons, and as a redshirt sophomore, he declared for the draft. Bowman, I don't know how many passes he caught offhand, but it has to be less than 10. He was just a non-factor on this offense, and he probably would not have started next year, so I understand why he ended up declaring. Because of his lack of production, to say the least, in college, Bowman falls here to round 6, and Jacksonville will scoop him up. Bowman is a physical possession receiver. At 6'3", 216, he has really solid hands, at least in traffic. He's not a great route runner. He's an okay athlete, has really good release, and I think if he can develop his route running and his hands to be a little bit more consistent, then maybe Jacksonville can show Westlake what they're missing by not giving Bowman any playing time. So that'll do it for round 6. Two more players join the Jaguars. Now going into round 7, Jacksonville only has one pick, and I think at this point, it's worth a shot to maybe take a flyer on a player. And with the 196th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Volker Gantz, kicker, Westlake. When I said Jacksonville should take a flyer on a player, I was not expecting them to pick a kicker, but here we are. Westlake's Volker Gantz is the selection. Personally, I don't think he's the best kicking prospect in this draft. I think that honor goes to Southern Illinois' Annie Wagner, who tries to be the first female in NFL history. Regardless, Westlake will pick Gantz instead. Gantz has elite kick power, and he has shown that all 4 years as a starter for Westlake. However, the accuracy has been fairly inconsistent. Yes, he did have a great senior season. However, I'm not totally sold on him entering the NFL. I assume the Jaguars will probably have a kicking battle between Gantz and Josh Lambo in the preseason. If Lambo wins the job, I guess Gantz will go to the practice squad. And if Volker Gantz wins the job, then maybe Josh Lambo is cut or traded if somebody needs a kicker really badly. So that'll do it here for round 7. No other picks of note considering how late we are in the draft. And that'll do it for the episode. I think we had a really good draft. So the plan is on Monday, I will be live streaming the preseason over on Twitch. I'll leave my Twitch down in the description. I will also be starting the construction for the second draft class of the series. If you want to make custom players, make sure to go join my Discord server. Link in the description. Week 1 will probably be later this upcoming week. I believe we play the Buffalo Bills. Hope you all are excited for that one. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I worked very hard on this video, as you can probably tell. And as always, have a good one. Stay safe. Deuces.